Beer Bat Alert coming up next on CHGO Cubs, presented by Toyota and Bet365. Shota shoves, the bullpen bounces back, and it's Nico to the rescue. We're late night. CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs postgame show podcast presented by Toyota, Let's Go Places, and Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 at sign-up. Cubs win 2-1 in extra innings in San Diego, a thriller out west. It was worth staying up for this one. And now, Cody Del Mendo, the Cubs will at least be 500 on this road trip against the Padres and the Dodgers, and they have a chance to win their fifth straight series. This was a big win. I didn't think it was coming because, once again, they did so many of the small things poorly in this game. There were so many guys left on base. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the Shaw move and all the moves before the game in just a bit. But it's nice at the end of the day, going into Wednesday, to have that win in your back pocket. This was a nice one. And Nico Hoerner, the hero.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, not doing the little things. I mean, hitting with runners in scoring position, sure. Yeah, not great. Padres were the same.
Yeah.
They, the game was 2-1. So, they evened out there. The Cubs should have won 1-0 because the one home run the Padres had, it shouldn't have happened. But yeah, I mean, I do feel like outside of the right before Machado hit the home run, I felt like the defense was better tonight, and the bullpen was a big part of why they won. And Shota probably would have gone deeper if the Machado thing doesn't happen. But yes, you're right. It's just nice that they won this game. You got a chance to win your fifth consecutive series tomorrow, and it's better than coming in here on a loss, because I guarantee you, Luke Stuckmeyer, 20 minutes ago when Caleb Thielbar was coming into the 10th inning, I promise you, and hand up, I almost live bet the Padres, okay? No one in this YouTube chat had any confidence that Caleb Thielbar was going to make that 10th inning with an inning that starts with a runner on second base. No one. And anyone who did, you're more Delulu than me after beating the Dodgers beating the Dodgers 2 out of 3 just a few days ago. You're more Delulu than me a few days ago. If you really thought Caleb Thielbar was going to come in there and do what we actually just witnessed him do. Credit to him. I'm happy for him because he'd been struggling, but he came in and that curveball was working, and maybe he was blessed with starting with the bottom of the lineup, but it doesn't matter. For what we've seen from Caleb Thielbar so far this season, it really doesn't matter who's at the plate. He's given up meatballs to everyone, but not tonight. Tonight. And
for one night, Cody, I
can't believe we're sitting here talking about a win.
For one night, he was the best Caleb in Chicago sports.
Yeah, there you go.
I hope that doesn't continue in the fall, but for one night, he was the best Caleb in Chicago sports.
Oh, man.
Man, I agree. When he came in, I got indigestion, and I kept waiting for the bullpen guys to. But when you zoom out now, again, even 3 games is a small sample size. But we've gone from really good bullpen game, really bad bullpen game, really good bullpen game. So 2 out of 3 have been good bullpen games. They were able to bounce back, and I've been saying early in this season, I just like the way this team bounces back and fights back. And they did it multiple times in this game. and they did it. They've done it after some tough points in the season, whether it's an injury to a star pitcher or a tough loss like they had to the Padres, a couple Sundays ago. This was a nice bounce back. I feel so good for Nico Hoerner, who has been through it in the last year, right? Like playing with an injury that we didn't even know about last year, then having off-season surgery. We're seeing him in a brace. You're hearing all the trade rumors out there all off-season about Nico. And all he's done is come out and play really good baseball so far this month. So good that I'd move him up in the lineup. But right now, man, he was a hero tonight. And it looked like when he slid into third base, right? All of that emotion of the last 7-8 months, it felt like it was coming out of him right there when he was sliding into third, and he had just driven in what turned out to be the game-winning run.
Yeah. Brennan Miller, good friend of the show, obviously. I think he tweeted the clip of that moment, and I watched it at least 3 or 4 times. Probably will watch it some more when I go and lay in bed after this show. Nico Hoerner, dude, like, if you just date back let's just date back to the end of last season, has off-season surgery, is part of trade rumors the entire off-season, and then basically doesn't play any spring training at all. Like, it's not even just tonight. He's been awesome all season on defense and, hitting near 300, if not over 300, I know he doesn't slug, but if he hits like he's been hitting to go with the base running and defense that he has, like, that's a second baseman that a lot of teams want. And he definitely looks healthy. I've said the same thing about Dansby Swanson. I know he's struggling this series. I know everyone is mad at Dansby, even though he had a 4 RBI game just literally a week ago and was hitting way better than what he looks like right now. I get it. But the difference, you can see a clear difference in the two of them just based off health alone this here in April. And like you said, I'm happy for Nico. And, I think after last year, I think a lot of fans took him for granted a little bit. Even I'll put my hand up and say that even I kind of maybe took him for granted and maybe thought we saw the best version of him already. We're seeing a better version than 2023 Nico Hoerner right now, and that was nearly a 5-win player. So, yeah, I'm really excited about what he's doing right now, and I like where he's at in the lineup. It looks like he's on his own little revenge tour. That's what it kind of feels like.
1 for 11, the team with runners in scoring position, and Nico is that one with 3 hits in this game. And it's good to see him happy and playing good baseball. And they missed him. They missed him in those 2 games in Japan. I'm not saying if he's there, that makes the difference, but I do. For all the times we've questioned whether or not the Cubs have handled some injuries correctly, this is one they got right. They let him get healthy before they brought him in here. They didn't force him into 2 games in Japan, stick him on the plane, and go through all the stuff over in Japan. They let him stay the course and plan it out the way it was. And it so far has worked out and been a really good season for him. 13 left on base for the offense. There just wasn't a whole lot going on. It looked like they were going to blow another great start from Shota. And there's no question, when those 2 balls got dropped, was there anybody sitting at home with Machado at the plate thinking, oh, they're going to get out of this? No way. You knew a home run was coming. No. Everybody watching it had to know home run is coming. It was an unbelievable at-bat by a great player. And when you give him 2 free passes on dropped pop-ups on foul balls, he's going to hit a home run, no matter who he's facing on the mound. Yeah. And it was inevitable. So I'm just glad they picked Shota up and went on to win the game.
Yeah. Yeah. The error by Tucker and then Workman, and I don't even know if I should put it on Workman. Sounds like a miscommunication. Like, I feel like Amaya should be making that catch. Whatever. That is inexcusable. And it's going to, it didn't cost you a game tonight, but if that continues, it will cost you more games. But yeah, I am just happy that they pulled away with this win. And, you know, we can talk about how someone in the chat says that they left 14 on base. And like, listen, that annoys me, but how many of the Padres leave on base? You know, like this is what happens when you play a 2-1 game. The Cubs, luckily, or not even luckily, but thankfully, the Cubs haven't played a lot of these types of games this year because they've actually been scoring runs and they've been going, they have been hitting with runners in scoring position. So you're not going to do that every single night in a 162 game season. So yeah, I hope that the offense looks a little bit better tomorrow. I see some people, maybe asking for a different lineup, and I kind of agree. I think, Swanson, as much as I think he's off to a decent start, he was at least these first couple weeks. This series, he's really struggled, and PCA's been hot, and Hoerner's, been awesome. Like, even if you just want to move Hoerner up to the 5 hole and maybe put and flip Swanson and PCA, put Swanson in the 7 hole just for tomorrow. And also, like, I think people also need to realize or remember that Seiya Suzuki is not in the lineup.
That's what I was going to say. I just hope Seiya's back. Forget all the other stuff. Just bring Seiya back if he's healthy.
I agree. I agree. But I am saying that Swanson has struggled this series, and you have a chance to win a series tomorrow. So I'm like, can we put the guys who are actually swinging it really well a little bit higher? I'm fine with the top 3. Now, if Seiya's in the lineup tomorrow, then Turner won't be hitting third, and then yeah, and I'm good with I'm good with the top 4. I really am. It's whether Swanson's hitting or not, I've never been a fan of him being in the 5 hole. He's more of a 6 or 7 hole guy for me, and that's it. But yeah, I hope Seiya is in the lineup tomorrow, because these last handful of games, we're witnessing what this lineup looks like when Seiya Suzuki's not in it. Like, Kyle Tucker is great, and he's going to deserve all the money in the world. But Seiya Suzuki is the second best hitter on the team, man. You take the second best hitter on the team out of the lineup, things change. So you get Seiya Suzuki back in the lineup tomorrow. That at least makes the lineup look a little bit better with Tucker and Happ and Bush up there in the top 4, and then do a little maneuvering in the middle to the bottom of half of the lineup, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, obviously need to hit better with runners in scoring position tomorrow, but it's not something that's been like a problem this year. So I'm not, if it becomes a trend, then I'll get pissed about it.
Shota was great. Like, his last start was maybe his worst in a Cubs uniform, but he owns the Padres this year. And what are they now? 14-4 on the season, with 3 of those 4 losses to the Cubs. And Shota had 5 innings, 1 run, none earned because of those errors. 3 walks would be my only knock, because that's another reason that he didn't go 6 innings. It was the 2 drop balls and the 3 walks, or you wouldn't have had to go to the bullpen as soon as you did. 7 strikeouts. So this year against the Padres, 12 1/3, 1 earned run, 11 strikeouts, 2 homers against the Padres. And one of those is Maldonado, so I don't even count that. Yeah. I won't even count that one against him. So good stuff out of him. Hey, we want to remind everybody, make sure you're subscribed to the CHGO Cubs YouTube page. We've been out for about, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, just over 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We're already not doing our shows on the CHGO Sports. Is the only place you can see them, but tell somebody who's looking for it. And go ahead and check out the videos, and make sure you give us the feedback, whether it's here or there or anywhere. Let us know what you think of what we're putting out there. We will be hearing from Jed Hoyer about the move for Matt Shaw. That's a big part of what we want to talk about. I still want to talk about the bullpen after the break. We're going to look ahead to the series finale coming up. There's lots to talk about. We appreciate everybody that's jumped in. We're after midnight, and we've got the live YouTube chat up, and everybody's having a good time because the Cubs won this game, and it was a fun way to win it with Nico's emotion. And it kind of felt like they stole one a little bit on the road, considering a lot of things went wrong leading up to that moment. So we're coming up with some of that. I'm curious, in the chat as we go to break, I'm curious, who do you trust in the bullpen? as Cody likes to say, the circle of trust. Who do you trust out there? Let us know what your order is for that, and we'll get to it in just a second. But first, and of course, a beer bat chug after the break. But first, a word from our sponsors. Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. They have more than any other auto brand out there. And our weather can be just brutal, but Toyota helps make it easier. From the sleek Camry all-wheel drive to the Corolla hybrid all-wheel drive, the Toyota Tundra is their truck known for its power, durability, and off-road capabilities, perfect for Chicago winters. Heading to the big game, it's the spacious Grand Highlander, the perfect ride with all-wheel drive to keep you and yours safe. So bring the action, and Toyota will bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Right now, we have a great deal on our Die Hard program. That's for all the sickos out there. Not just sickos, diehards. That's the top of the food chain. Become a CHGO diehard. Upgrade your fandom today, right now. Special deal with the draft coming up. $36. Limited time offer for a whole year. That's like $3 a month. It's nothing. Get access to our exclusive written content, a free t-shirt, plenty of discounts on future merch and events, plus access to our CHGO Discord lounge where we all hang out and talk Chicago sports. Go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join the thousands of CHGO diehards already in our community. We can't wait to connect with you. It's just it's a great deal, and this is the time to do it right before our big draft party coming up here for the Bears. And hey, just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. You can go to the big box store, you can risk it, but you might be talking to somebody who was selling toilets and bidets yesterday and maybe patio furniture the day before that. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they will take care of you every step of the way. Their flooring experts will bring that showroom right to your home, get precise measurements. And with Empire Today, you get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Nobody likes to wait. So schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code CHGO. You heard me right. 350 bones off with the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit Empire Today/CHGO for details. And while we were talking about that Die Hard program, I don't want to forget the deal that we've got out there right now. A great deal to come hang with us in Milwaukee on May 3rd. It's a Saturday. It's a night game at Wrigley North in Milwaukee. We're going to pregame party and do a live show at the Potawatomi Casino and Hotel on May 3rd. It's right next to the ballpark. You get $100 in casino play. You get a lunch buffet. You get drink tickets, and it's all for just $50. $50. If you pay another $75 on top of that $50, now you get a seat in the 200 section with us to watch the Cubs and the Brewers. Great opportunity. You can also add on staying at the hotel, which is beautiful, and the casino is beautiful. We're all going to hang out there and have a good time. So make sure you check that out. Just link in the description, all that, and Sarah will have it for you. But it's a great for the original deal alone. $50 is unbelievable, but I think the add-ons are pretty great too. So
yeah, I heard today that we had a few people already buy their tickets,
already signing up.
Let's go, man!
And we've already promised people no escalators.
No escalators. Also, maybe this is just a me and you thing, but I really do want to go to Cops because you talk about it.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, Cops.
Maybe we can all just take a trip.
We should see when we get to the casino now Grubhub wouldn't be good because the Custard's not going to make it, but we could definitely Uber over there after the game.
Yeah, little post-game Cops.
Because they have multiple locations. It's not just a one-time deal. I think they have 3 locations in the area.
Okay.
It's by far the best custard I've ever had.
Okay.
It's better than anywhere. Anyways, so here comes the beer bat chug from Cody Delmendo. Remember that 10.25 is considered a quality beer bat chug. Now,
yes, keep
in mind that this is Sam Adams American Light this year. And so only one has not been a quality chug. I think he was just a little bit out of practice. But so far, everyone but one, while you're making your predictions in the live chat, I see Craig Brindle's going 9.69 and Sean Caselli is going 6.9. Just keep in mind that
Every
under
time.
10.25 has been very common this season. Here comes the dedication and the beer bat chug. Sam Adams, American Light.
Okay, so I think it's just pretty obvious. Like, I have to give it to Caleb Thielbar tonight because no one thought he was going to do what he did. I was absolutely expecting the absolute worst possibility. I thought Fernando Tatis Jr., even after he got 2 outs, Tatis was going to hit a 2-run walk-off homer or just the absolute maximum pain. I really thought he was. And then Caleb Thielbar, got Luis Ariz to fly out after he ended up walking Tatis Jr. So, and it was the right decision to just intentionally walk him. You don't want him to beat you. So, good on counsel on that. And hopefully this is a start of a good run for Thielbar because they need a lefty to be a guy. All right. Are we ready?
All right, here it comes. Remember, it begins. Wait, let me get my stopwatch ready because I don't know if Sarah's got the machine ready because we're remote today. So let me get my trusty stopwatch. It starts when the beer touches his lips. Okay, I'm ready.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Sam Adams, American Light. And he's underway. Cody Del Mendo. The clock is on, and he is halfway through this beer bat chug. He's cruising along like Shota Imanaga through a start, and he is done. I've got you at 8.60.
Let's go. Let's go.
I had predicted 9 flat, and that produced a 9.2, a 9.25, a 9.34, 8.60. Not even 9.
Show the people. Show the people. There you go.
There.
Yeah, let's go.
Right
we had to have proof. All right.
Had to have proof. There it is. So I'm real proud of you. That's a great beer bat chug, and to do it at 18 minutes into the morning.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Sean agrees. Quality.
I would like to credit my day 2 of walking 10,000 steps. Getting extra exercise in helps chug beers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like afterwards, if you do it in less than 10.25, well, the way the kids do it, you should say served. Served. That's probably what you should do when you get done with that. I'm just throwing out ideas.
As our social media director Emma would say, I just served.
I just served. So before we get to the Shaw thing, you mentioned Thielbar. It was good. There were some good performances. Palencia, we'll talk about him. He's one of the moves before the game. He went 1, 2, 3 in this. Where is your bullpen circle of trust, as you like to call it?
So I tweeted the graphic right before the show.
Okay.
And I did not think Caleb Thielbar would be getting back on the circle of trust because I removed him from the graphic last night. Mm-hmm. Now, people need to understand that, like, if you're not in the circle, but you're on the graphic, that means that you're building confidence. You're building something here. But when you come into the 9th or you come into the 10th inning, and basically to close the game because your closer was already used and all your other high leverage guys were used.
Right.
I think I'm still holding back a little bit, but I put him right on the line of the circle. So he's basically in, but not fully in. But then I have Ryan Presley, Porter Hodge, Brad Keller, Julian Merriweather, and then Ethan Roberts in the circle of trust. And then Daniel Palencia was good tonight. So it's just one appearance. Yeah. So he's on the outside looking in. So we'll see what he does the next time. And if he does well the next one, he'll probably get on the line unless it's like 3 strikeouts, then a 1, 2, 3 inning of some sort, something like that. But yeah, the guys who got them 2 extras basically are who are in the circle of trust. And I know Ethan Roberts had pitched 3 straight days, so he wasn't going to pitch tonight, but I think he's looked pretty impressive so far this year. So, that's where the circle of trust is. And for as much as we complain about the bullpen, it's kind of crazy that there are this many names in my circle of trust.
Yeah, your circle of trust is a little convoluted. I don't really fully understand you. You're talking about guys somewhat out of the circle. Corey says Hodge, Merriweather, Presley, Keller are your high leverage guys. We'll see. Here's what I thought, Cody. I was thinking about this. I can't put Thielbar in your circle of trust just yet.
Again, he's on the line.
He's on the line.
He's
I
on
know.
the line. Like there's a circle and he's
moving
on the
into
line.
picture.
Yeah.
I think we can upgrade this. And Sarah, go ahead. This is Luke Stuckmeyer's triangle of trust.
Okay, I kind of dig this.
This Luke Stuckmeyer's triangle of trust. Porter Hodge is the big chunk at the bottom. He's the guy I trust most in the bullpen. Merriweather is next in line, then Keller and Presley, although Presley's name is starting to get a little bit bigger after back-to-back performances. Now, I had a high-tech company put this together for me during the game today, and I outsourced it. And it came back this way. I didn't know fully what it was going to be. Palencia has moved himself into the triangle of trust. And there's Roberts at the top. He's the little piece. But so far, Theo Barr not quite in there. This is where I'm at as of right now, the 16th of April. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm sitting in Luke Stuckmeyer's triangle of trust.
I dig this.
Huh?
Now you have to update this every night.
Well, that's going to depend. That's going to depend on the outsourced work that I had done. You know,
that will depend on Sarah. Okay.
It will depend on the company that I outsourced it to. Corey Friedman says, "Great graphic."
It is a great graphic.
It is a great graphic. Thank you very much. I put
mine was very simple. I just put some pictures on there. You did some real artwork there.
Oh, I mean, I the fully blown ivy, the in bloom ivy on there, color coding.
Your triangle of trust is a lot different than like what my circle of trust is. My circle of trust, if you're in the circle, I just feel good about you coming out there and being anything good.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
yours is like a level of like high leverage of leverages. It feels like that's what your triangle of trust is.
Yeah, mine's like a food chart. You're eating at the top, you're not eating as much, but triangle of trust just has a nicer ring to it. It feels more dependable, right? More trusted, if you will, which is that's the key to the whole thing, the trust.
I won't tell you you're wrong. You're fine.
All right, let's get to the big story. Let's talk Shaw, and then after a commercial break, we're going to hear from Jed Hoyer. But what did you think when you heard the news that Shaw was going down? Because I think most people knew that Pearson was going to go to Iowa. He had to, right?
Yeah, and we knew that Eli Morgan was probably going to hit the injured list.
Yeah. He's got the impingement in the elbow. So what about Shaw, who was hitting a $172? Are you for this or against this move?
I mean, I'm fine with it. And all I know is that I was surprised just because one, it's not like you have some insane replacement, like it's not like you're like, you have someone that you feel great about anyway.
Right. You have Workman and Birdie.
Yeah. But I think the Cubs just saw something themselves and, maybe confidence is a thing. And so I'm fine with the fact that they did it. It sucks. It's disappointing that Shaw couldn't get off to a better start. But I mean, like I said last night, man, like they had to go up against some of the best teams in baseball this first month of the season. And, he's trying to make himself a relevant major league player while adjusting to all these new pitchers that he's never seen before, while doing a lot of it on the road, the whole Japan thing. Like it wasn't easy, but I'm not worried or thinking that he's some bust prospect for them yet. I'm not even close to that yet. So I feel bad for the guy because you just knew that he was the effort has always been there. I never felt like he was not giving effort, but yeah, my thing now is, I'll pay a little closer attention to Iowa Cubs games and see if he's making adjustments there. I don't really necessarily care. I mean, I guess I care a little bit about results because he needs to see good results, but I'm interested to see if the stance changes a little bit. The leg kick type, if they remove the leg kick and, just some mechanical changes. Like I obviously he needed to do that, which we talked about last night. So yeah, like I said, I was a little surprised, but also not at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it points to the fact why they made at least some effort a mild one at that to attract Bregman, right? Like they did make an offer. It wasn't near the top. It was like number 3 or 4, but whatever it was, it wasn't enough. And then he has the injury, and you're trying to see if he's going to be ready for Japan. It wasn't a perfect spring, and this just happens. So curious what everybody in the chat thinks about Shaw and his demotion to AAA. We're going to talk more about that in a second, and we're going to hear Jed Hoyer's reasoning. I thought that was some pretty good stuff coming out of San Diego via Marquee. But first, Cody's going to tell us about our friends at Bet365.
Bet365. Went 3-1 tonight. All right. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use code CHGO365, deposit $10 and place a $5 bet to win $150 in bonus bets. And it doesn't matter if your bet wins or loses. You are going to get those $150 of bonus bets and get to use them. You could perhaps use them tomorrow because Matthew Boyd goes tomorrow. I don't know who pitches for the Padres, but they're on the road. Perhaps the Cubs are underdogs. Maybe if you're feeling frisky, maybe the Cubs win the series, won their 5th consecutive series tomorrow. You can perhaps bet on it on Bet365. They have a good MLB early payout offer where if the winner, the bet that you place, if your team you bet on goes 5 runs ahead, you get an instant payout. You win them automatically. That wouldn't have been the case in tonight's game, but say the Cubs are up 5-0 tomorrow with Matthew Boyd on the mound, I'll be high on life and I'll win a bet immediately if that happens, right? Which is super cool. And you don't have to sweat the bullpen because we know the bullpen will be a roller coaster tomorrow anyway, just even despite what we watched tonight. So, again, new customers get $150 in bonus bets from Bet365 when you bet $5, win or lose. Use code CHGO365. You can do it again on player props, totals, spreads, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be assessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Life's been a little crazy lately, and one thing that helps me unwind, Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies, Cody.
Let's go.
Have you been looking for a natural way to relieve aches and discomfort? The CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp are formulated to work with your body and not against it. I'm not as young as I used to be, nor is anybody else, but I care a lot about maintaining my physical and mental wellness. Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies are a huge piece of my wellness plan. Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies are made to help you feel better, whether it's stress, discomfort, or just needing a little relaxation. They use only the best part of the hemp plant, the flower, the purest and most potent CBD. It's organic, it's vegan, it's gluten-free, fast, free shipping on every order. And right now, they're offering CHGO listeners 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO. Use that promo code CHGO at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com, code CHGO for 30% off your first order. This is the good life.
Let's go.
So we're talking Matt Shaw, right? And I think it's a little bit of mixed reaction based on Twitter. I've seen some people saying that, he was rushed and he probably wouldn't have been on this team. Somebody said in the chat, it might have been Craig. Somebody was saying that they thought he was a little rushed. If it wasn't for Nico's injury, maybe he wouldn't have made the team. My only response to that is, yeah, but then what was the plan at third base if it wasn't Shaw? Like, if they weren't all in on Shaw, I do remember at Cubs convention listening to Craig Counsell talking and him just saying, listen, there are going to be some tough moments. He's going to go through it. There's no guarantee it's going to be that easy. And that's true. Other Cubs have gone through this too and still been just fine. It's way too early to decide what kind of player he's going to be. But when your exit velo is bottom 2% in Major League Baseball, something's not right. Yeah. When you're striking out 18 times in 68 plate appearances, it's not a great start. I said on last night's podcast, I would have let him try to figure it out maybe just a little bit longer because the defense was still good, and I don't really know what the backup plan is. I don't know if Workman's going to get hits at the major league level, and I don't know if I want Birdie playing every day. I like him as a utility guy. So
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a perfect answer, but I know you also don't want to stunt his growth. If they think this is the right move for him, great. Here's some sound from Jed Hoyer today. This is from Marquis' Twitter page. This is from San Diego. Jed Hoyer talking about the decision. I believe the first question is from Taylor McGregor on Marquis, and they're talking about the decision to send Shaw back to AAA Iowa.
Craig just said that every Cub, with the exception of Chris Bryant, that you've sort of handled has been sent down to the minor leagues at some point. How does that experience and your experience developing players sort of play into the decision with Matt Shaw and how you evaluate him in the process?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Wilson went down either, but pretty much. I mean, we look at Schwarber, Happ, Rizzo, Javi, all those guys have gone back at some point, and this is part of it. It's just really hard to break into the big leagues, and even guys that sometimes seem like they had established themselves need to go back at some point for a reset. So I don't look at this as a negative. It's almost part of the process, and I'm sure he learned a lot. We faced a lot of really good pitching. Obviously, it's been a great learning experience for him, and I think he has the kind of head on his shoulders. I think he'll take what he learned, go back down to Iowa, think about it, and I think he'll come back, better and more ready to go. And I think that when you look at all the guys that I just mentioned, that Craig mentioned, I think all of them, at the time were not thrilled about it, and then I think all of them later on would admit that it's probably the right thing at that point, because I do think that this league is unrelenting, and I think at times you just need to take a step back before you can take a step forward.
I would say, what ultimately was the tipping point that felt like now is the moment to do it?
It wasn't one tipping point. I think it's something we've been discussing, for a little bit of this. Like, you don't want to see a point at which he's just trying to survive at the plate. I think part of what makes him excellent is he exit velocities, he drives the ball. It felt like he probably was getting a little bit contact oriented against some of the pitching we're facing, and we felt like that was an indication that maybe it's more survival mode right now, or he's more focused on putting the ball in play than he is on driving balls, and that was a part of the discussion. But there was no one catalytic moment.
There's an element of we don't want him to get into bad habits because he's here.
Exactly, and it's just hard. I mean, like I said, it's unrelenting. We're facing so much good pitching right now that it's not like you're going to get a break for a couple of days to reset. I think that, to your point, you get in some bad habits. You're just trying to do some things you don't normally do. Let him go back to Iowa. Take a deep breath, work on those things, and then come back. But I know Craig said it, and I feel it too, is that we want him to be our third baseman, and it's April 15th, so it feels like we've been playing for a while because of Japan, but we're so early in the season, and let him get a little reset and come back.
This isn't a case of hey, here's some mechanical things we want you to work on. This is just view it more as a deep breath kind of.
I think there are some mechanical things that he's gonna work on, but I think yes, more than anything, it's a reset.
Some of the bullpen issues that we've seen pop up in a couple games early on the season, what do you make of that, and kind of where you guys are just in the bullpen right now?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I thought we pitched great for 3 days in LA, and obviously last night we did make a couple plays, and that led to extra outs and led to some poor pitching last night. And we've got to get to a place where you feel like all 8 guys down there are giving you consistent outings. I think we have a number of guys that are throwing the ball well, but we have some guys that have struggled. I think Nate and Eli would be the first ones to say that they've been struggling, and some of our blow up games have been games they've been in, and we need Nate in particular to get down to Iowa now and get right. Frankly, I thought he was our best reliever in spring training before he left to Japan in terms of how he was throwing the ball. He looked fantastic. I think he probably whether he got in some bad habits or just the schedule messed him up or whatever it is. He hasn't thrown well, and we need to get him back to where he was for us last year and where he was in spring training. And there's going to be some shuffle that happens in our bullpen. I think that getting to that place where we have all the guys throwing well is hard, and like I said, we'll keep on working through it until we do.
You haven't done imaging yet on Eli, so
Probably back home.
Right now, I know you don't have all the information situation? What's the level of concern?
I mean, there's some level of concern, but I think give it a couple days. Once we get back home, we'll figure that out.
We haven't talked to you since the Steel news.
Yeah.
How was it to have that? And just what do you think about the kind of depth you have to hopefully fill the gap right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think on a personal level, bummed out for him. I know he worked so hard, and it's you get excited for a season. I think he makes 4 starts and goes down. I know he was really bummed about that, and obviously as a team we're disappointed. Of course, he's a one of our best starting pitchers and a fantastic teammate. But I think in these moments you sort of have to.
So that was Jed Hoyer via Marquee, first talking about Shaw, then talking about the bullpen, and it's just some interesting stuff coming out of there. I sort of agree with Neer in the live YouTube chat here on the CHGO Cubs YouTube page. I circle a time when they're playing the Marlins, the White Sox, and the Rockies and say, let him face that pitching after he feels good about himself at AAA Iowa. So we haven't heard the last of Matt Shaw unless something goes poorly. But I do think back to a time when I know Ian Happ was mad that he was sent to AAA. And it worked out. And it didn't all click for Kyle Schwarber perfectly, or Javi, or Anthony Rizzo when he was in San Diego, or a lot of other guys who go down and then come back and have really good success at the major league level. So let's see how it goes. Maybe he was rushed. Maybe Shaw was rushed. I don't know. But
I
it
don't
doesn't
think
matter
he
at this
was
point, Cody.
Yeah, I don't think he was rushed. Like, if he was rushed, I would say he was rushed if he would have made this roster and Alex Bregman was in the Cubs had signed Alex Bregman. Yeah. Because then you're not giving him like everyday, you're not giving him everyday playing time. Go listen to the audio. Me and you both were for it. We didn't, well, until the very end, we didn't think it was going to happen. But
right.
I thought putting him in a super utility role would have been a good way to ease him into the league. But I do think that, it was time for him to see some major league pitching. And if they would have signed even if it wasn't Bregman, if they had signed or traded for Nolan Arenado, someone who is
stopgap even.
Yeah, like just someone who isn't John Birdie or a Rule 5 pick in Gage Workman, then you could have eased him in a little bit easier. So, it's a winning post game. I'm not trying to go to the negative. You know what I mean? I'm not, we're just over here trying to break even. I know, right?
But it's understandable though, Cody. It's their top prospect and they just sent him back to AAA.
Yeah. But to not to be pessimistic, but the difference between him and those other guys, Schwarber came up and he took the world by storm in 2015.
Yeah.
Javi Baez, okay, that's a good example. Javi Baez was striking out 40% of his plate appearances in 2014 when he came up, at the end of the season in a year where they were tanking, right? And he really didn't. I don't think he came back up in 2015 until midseason. And he didn't even really start getting full-time playing opportunities until 2017. He was definitely more of a utility player in 15 and 16. Until the postseason, whenever he was starting at second base through that postseason run, right? Ian Happ, even Ian Happ is a little different. Like, Ian Happ was awesome in 2017 when he was a rookie.
Yeah.
And then the league adjusted to him and he could not adjust and he went through some struggles. And then they, whatever happened in spring training of 2018 or 2019, whatever year it was. And, he was mad about having to go to Iowa, whatever. He still came back. And even when he came back, it's not like he was great right away either. Like Ian Happ didn't really take off and become like this hitter that me and you defend a lot on the show until 2022. Hell, before this show started, me and you thought that he could have been non-tendered in the offseason after 2021. In like 2 months, the last 2 months of 2021, he played so well that he saved his time with the Cubs. So like even those guys, like anyone who's trying to use those guys to try to spin this for Matt Shaw, like everyone's different. I get that, but it's not exactly the same.
No,
Shaw
every
is different because he
situation.
started the year with the team and then didn't even make it to the end of April. The closest thing to that, I guess, is Chris Bryant. He didn't even start the year with the team, but that's a service time, manipulation thing that went through. That's different, but you know what I mean? Like Chris Bryant was number 2 overall pick, college player of the year, minor league player of the year, like an elite talent, right? And I think Shaw is going to be good, but I don't think he's going to be Chris Bryant's 7 more player NL MVP good. You know what I mean? So
Right.
they're all different players. It's all different situations. I do think that he'll be better his next time around. Just got to, I think, like, I do agree. I do tend to agree with what Jed said in terms of it being more of a reset, but I am happy to hear that it wasn't just one particular moment where they're like, this is why we need to send him. Like
Right.
he just, it was a clear sign that he was just struggling in general. The idea that it felt like he said something along the lines of him trying to play survivor mode instead of trying to
he's
drive
just
the
not
ball.
hitting the ball hard.
Yeah. Like I think that's a good reason to send him back to Iowa too, because you want him to be trying to drive the ball, not just playing survivor,
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think it's okay that they sent him down. I would have been fine with it if they waited if they would have given him a month. Like I'd have been okay if they took the rest of the month and said, finish out April. Let's see where we're at. Let's see if something clicks for you. But they decided to make it quicker because they didn't think he was hitting the ball hard and they didn't want him regressing. Like, yeah, he's taking a step back by going to AAA, but they didn't want to mess with his mind too much from the disappointment. And hopefully he's built the way that that's not going to be a problem anyways. We're going to look ahead to the series finale in just a second as the Cubs try to win yet another series, a chance to do it tomorrow afternoon. But first, a word from our sponsors. Cody?
Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch, kickoff, tip-off tomorrow. If you're a Bulls fan, playing game, everyone's excited about it. You're going to go to the United Center. I think it's at the United Center. And whatever. You can go to that game if you want to. You can go to Friday 120 Club on Friday with me and Braggs, who won't be on crutches anymore, I'm told.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, with killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Like I just said, Friday 120 Club, the second one, we're 1-0 on the season. We got the Diamondbacks coming to town on Friday after an off day. If the Cubs win tomorrow, we're going to be vibing on Friday. And I heard it's supposed to be like nice, like 70 degrees this Friday in April.
Yeah.
If I read my weather app correctly, like I could have read it wrong, but let's just, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. We're looking for good weather. It's been good weather this week, so I'm believing it. Good weather at Wrigley on a day game in April. You dream of those times in like December. So of course you want to go on to Game Time and get your ticket right before you get into Chicago, right before you park your car in Wrigleyville, right before you get off the red line, or maybe right as you're getting off the red line if you can do double task or whatever. But because the best time is right before first pitch, and you're going to get the best value, and that's the best thing about Game Time. Some other things that I like, all right, they have zone deals, so you save even more when you let Game Time choose the section or this in the seats. You'll save up to, I believe, 60. No, you just save more. That's it. When you toggle the all-in pricing feature, it shows the total up front, so you don't have any surprise fees. Luke, me and you both, we hate a bait and switch. No one likes a bait and switch.
Please.
Game Time, they don't do bait and switches. They'll tell you. All right. They have seat views. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. They have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. All right. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Cody, the cells in our bodies are the building blocks of life. Timeline is a supplement that works with those cells to help give you more energy, feel stronger during workouts, and preserve health and mobility as you start to age. The patented ingredient is MitoPure, a postbiotic nutrient that clears out our dysfunctional mitochondria, aka your cells' battery packs. I know I just threw a lot of science at you, but I also know it works. With regular use, you're going to see and feel the difference in the form of improved energy levels, better workouts, faster recovery, more endurance, and more. MitoPure is the only supplement clinically proven to rejuvenate health at the cellular level. Get ready to be your best, most energized, most revitalized you. Right now, Timeline's giving you 10% off your order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/CHGO today to get started. That's timeline.com/CHGO. Cubs win 2-1. What's that?
I was getting ready to say, I like Sean's comment. Sean Caselli, our good friend,
Yeah.
says, as long as he's not Josh Vitters, I'm happy. Talking about whoever's playing third base.
Wow, Josh Vitters.
That's a throwback right there.
Remember watching him play at Peoria when he was still the high pick, thinking he was playing with Bob Brenly's son was on the team. He was a catcher on that team.
That's a real throwback since they're not an affiliate with the Cubs anymore.
No. Yeah. So Matthew Boyd is the guy that goes on the mound, and I feel good about it. He's going against the guy in Nick Pivetta, where the Cubs could have looked at either of these guys in the offseason in free agency. Maybe they did. Maybe they chose Boyd. Maybe they could have looked at both. Both are off to really good starts. Pivetta, a 4-year deal with the Padres, $55 million with opt-outs after 26 and 27. His AAV is $13,750,000. Boyd gets a 2-year, $29 million deal with a 14.5 AAV. They've both been really good. I love what I've seen out of Boyd. We know the key is staying healthy. He feels healthy. And if you have not heard the interview that he did with 670 The Score, Matt Spiegel and Lawrence Holmes, this guy will become one of your 2 favorite Cubs instantly. That's what I'm telling you. He talks about how the Cubs called with an interest to his agent, and he was like, yes, this is the team I want. And it was because his grandfather, who has passed away, was a diehard Cubs fan, like through and through. He would call his grandfather to talk about his starts and his games, and the grandfather would say, well, Kyle Hendricks does this. Well, what works for the Cubs? Kyle Hendricks has been working on. Thanks, Grandpa. I mean, incredible stuff.
Yeah.
And just his appreciation for what the franchise was even before he got here, and how appreciative he is of the opportunity to be pitching here. You want the best for him. So I want to see him go out there and get the Cubs another series win tomorrow against the best team in baseball. What's your confidence level there?
Well, the Cubs hit Pivetta pretty well at Wrigley. Pivetta started the Saturday game when the Padres were in Chicago, and the Cubs won like 6-3 or something like that day. And Pivetta walked a lot of dudes. I expect him to be better now since in his home ballpark and it's not cold and stuff like that. But yeah, Boyd's been awesome. And, I listened to him talk post game after that. I think, didn't Boyd start that day? No, that was Tyone. Maybe Boyd started that Sunday game. But he talked a lot about like his grandfather and stuff like that. Like, it's a really interesting story about him and his family ties to the Cubs and stuff like that. So, I've enjoyed watching him, and I've said this before, like, I'm not worried about performance from Matthew Boyd. I'm just worried about a potential injury, just because
healthy.
That's been a thing. So I've been getting on my knees every night before a Matthew Boyd start, and I just look to the sky and I'm like, brother, can we just make sure this guy can give us 5 or 6 innings tomorrow and come out healthy? Like that's what I'm doing every. That's
what you say to the big guy, day. Brother.
Brother, can this man give us 120 innings, please? So
they're going to have to be careful. I do think they're going to have to be careful with him this season, right? Like, you can't just let them go, 6-7 innings every game. They're going to have to. Eventually, some other guys are going to have to come up and make some starts, and you're going to have to cut some of his short when he doesn't have it. And just be careful with him.
Sure.
Because he could be really valuable at $29 million for 2 years.
Yeah, for sure. He's performing as well as you could have hoped right now. To answer your question earlier about would I've rather have taken Pivetta or Boyd, I do know the reason that Pivetta signed late was because I think so many teams value that comp pick, and that's he was a comp pick was attached to him, and he signed with the Padres like late. Like, didn't he sign in late January, maybe early February?
I think it was February, actually. Yeah,
like right before spring training. You know, like he's pretty solid with the Red Sox, and he's off to a decent start with the Padres, and I expect him to be. I don't expect it to be easy tomorrow. So, I think they didn't walk a ton tonight. It'd be nice to, they've been one of those teams that's been walking a lot this year. Like, I'd like to see some base on balls tomorrow. I'd like to see some manufactured runs. We get a guy at third base with less than 2 outs. Can we hit a sac fly? That if Thielbar would have blown it, we would have been complaining about the top of the 10th inning, even though they scored a run. Because Nico hits the triple, and then PCA hit a fly ball, but it was too shallow.
Yeah,
and then Amaya struck out, right? And then Birdie struck out, and it's just like that. Good teams get that insurance run in, man. So, they got away with it tonight, but they're not going to get away with it 2 days in a row against a team like that. So, I'd like to see more manufactured runs, some walks. Be nice if we can hit one over the wall too. That'd be cool.
I'd like to see PCA hit another home run. Hey, he finally got a bunt down.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good
Michael
bunt
Bush.
tonight.
How did that Michael Bush ball not go out in the 9th inning?
I don't know. I think I'm not going to say he wasn't respecting 90, but I think he thought it was going out. I think everybody thought it was going out.
He ended up getting a double, so it's not like he hit a single out of it. But
it looked like once they showed the replay, I still couldn't tell exactly where it hit, but it looked like maybe like a foot short.
Yeah. But I'd never been so mad at a double because I just knew that they weren't going to get him.
Would that have been a 3-run homer?
It would have been a solo shot. There was no one on.
Would have been a solo shot too.
Would have been a solo shot. It would have given them the 9th inning lead. Presley would have came in. And
earlier in the game, he had a chance with a couple on.
Yeah,
and I was thinking
there was one where he hit one to the warning track.
Loaded, didn't he?
Yeah, he had bases loaded. I think he hit one to the warning track or right before the warning track.
That's right. And the series before, that's what I was going to say. I was thinking to myself, he's got a chance to, get a little revenge on his. Should have had a grand slam against the Dodgers. Brendan Miller has joined the chat. Look at this.
He says, late night West Coast extra innings. Let's go.
Yeah.
He's a sick human being.
Yeah, he is.
Shout out to our guy, Mike Prasnowski, who comes out to Friday 120 Club sometimes.
Yeah.
He tweeted tonight, went viral. Apparently, the Cubs don't have another game later than 7:10.
Yeah, I gave
the rest of the season
until a retweet on that.
Yeah, it doesn't come they don't play a game later than 7 p.m. until August after tonight.
Start time.
Start time.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's better than start time at 8:40 or 9:10, Luke,
or 5 a.m.
Yeah, or 5 a.m. If
just get a regular schedule here.
Who's had a tougher battle, Matt Shaw or me and you doing the month of April?
I think that's us. Yeah, it's us. Shaw's still getting paid better.
That's true. That's so true.
Whether he's in Iowa or wherever, he's still getting paid better.
True, dude. That's so true.
Yeah, I wonder if Praz has seen my triangle of trust, and what Brendan is thinking my triangle of trust.
I hope Brendan goes. If he's just now joining, he needs to go back earlier in the show and go find the triangle of trust. Would love his thoughts on your on Luke's triangle of trust.
The pitch philosopher's triangle of trust.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at that fresh ivy up there, all green.
You know what? The one thing about
map looking thing.
The one thing about my circle of trust in your triangle of trust is I love that Ethan Roberts is part of it. it just
Ethan Roberts is in there.
he's giving some form of something. It's not like super trustworthy, but like he hasn't done anything to make me think we should ship him off to Iowa. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I'm rooting for the kid because he's coming off Tommy John, you know. So he's like the one like kind of wild card that's in the triangle and circle of trust, I think. But the other guys, like, I think we expected this from Hodge and Merriweather and even Presley, and Presley's been a lot better. He was great in the 9th inning again today. And I thought the first pitch strikes, like to me, like when he was struggling early and people were calling him Ryan Stressley, he was throwing so many first pitch balls, and then he'd go to a 3-2 count every single time. That did not happen tonight, and it hasn't happened the last few outings. He's throwing first pitch strikes. He's being aggressive. He's getting outs. Like I don't know. I still think long term, by the end of the year, Porter Hodge is going to be your closer. But like this is something that's developed within the team that I'm like, okay, like I think we can get by. Now, can we get the middle relief? Can we get the middle relief part going? So, we didn't see Luke Little tonight. So I feel like we'll see him tomorrow.
Got a shot at the triangle, and then there'll be more names in the triangle potentially.
Right.
I was worried as I was having this outsourced to another company for being made, the Triangle of Trust. I was worried that Presley was going to blow it, and I was going to have to change the triangle at the last minute. Thank goodness that didn't happen.
Brendan says, I'm making pyramid charts going forward. I'm inspired by Stuckey.
Well, I've listened to the people. I see what they think of heat maps and charts and how much they enjoy them. And so now I'm going to be all kinds of graphics, algorithms, and everything else. You can't imagine the way I'm going to treat this show.
Let's go. I always knew that we knew how to math.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love the math and science.
No one maths more than me and you.
That's right. Mitochondria made it into the show today. A quick reminder before we go. A couple of things going on. We got the big trip coming to Milwaukee May 3rd. Word is Brendan Miller might fly in for that. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet or not, but we're working on that. We got the pregame party and live show, Potawatomi Casino and Hotel. Includes your drink tickets. $50 includes your drink tickets. It includes the show. It includes $100 in casino play and just good times, right? Yeah. Or a lunch buffet. Mm-hmm. And then if you add on 75 more, you can come to the game with us at the 200 level. And you can also add on the hotel. So there's a bunch of ways to upgrade it even more. Great time to be a diehard right now, too, because the Cubs are in first place. And we have a special deal going on right now, $36 for the first year. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get it lower than that, okay?
No.
$36 right now. And it's just in time for the draft day party. We're going to have the big draft party at 115 Bourbon Street. That's going to be a great time. Make sure you sign up for that. Get the discount for that if you're a diehard. And we already know you're sickos, but are you diehards? Speaking of diehards, Friday 120 Club, it returns. There's the list of the Friday 120 Club performers.
We are 1-0. We're 1-0 in 2025. We're going for 2-0. And like I said, Greg Braggs will be off his crutches on Friday.
Wow. You know what I was thinking when you said that? I think that there would be no greater showing of strength than for Greg Braggs to show up on May 3rd and walk in to Wrigley North on his own 2 feet with 2 birds in the sky. Let them fly.
Yeah, let's go.
That's what
David
I think
Ross
we should
style.
have.
He
2
should
birds
look at
in the sky. Let them fly. Braggs walks in on his own 2 feet. Yep. You can't keep me down,
right?
Because
he looks at Wrigley North, or I guess in this case for this sentence, he looks at Miller Park. He looks at it, and he looks at it like David Ross looks at Jock Peterson. All right.
Well, yeah, and he walks in, he thinks, I'm going to own this place soon. I'm going to own this place.
Yes.
Cubs win.
One more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing. Jackie Robinson Day today.
Yes.
Shout out. Sports wouldn't be the way they are now without him. So just want to point that out.
It's one of the cooler things that Major League Baseball does all season long.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw the cleats that Josh Naylor was wearing for the Diamondbacks tonight. I thought those were really cool. And I am also disappointed that Nike did not make a new form of dunk lows that they do on an annual basis for Jackie Robinson Day this year. So I'm sad about that, but that's for another podcast. So anyway,
maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow, 3:00 game, and then a post-game show. Kevin Wells is going to be jumping in, and we appreciate everybody that was in the live YouTube chat. Once again, we've taken it past the 1 a.m. mark here on CHGO Cubs and the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. We appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Cubs win 2-1 in extras. They got a chance at a series win. Until then, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.